Hello and welcome to Blockchain Gaming World Daily with me, John Jordan. So I've just been doing a little bit of housekeeping on my YouTube channel. So I used to have a YouTube channel called Game Token Watch, which is pretty old now, well over a year old since I've updated it. But it was looking, back when I first got into blockchain games, looking at some of the token values. And I brought all those videos over and just dumped them on the current channel for historical reasons. But I kind of thought that might be a nice opportunity to look back at what I was doing, which is every month I was going and looking at the price of these tokens and somehow trying to find if there was any, if the utility, if the actual usage of these tokens by these game projects was actually driving price in any way. I think my conclusion over doing that for a year was clearly it wasn't. But it's quite interesting to look back at what I was doing then. So this is one of the many portfolio apps you can set up. I've not actually changed this at all, so it wasn't like really a live portfolio. So this is well over a year old. But I thought it would be interesting to go back and have a look at kind of a year on, kind of what actually did happen. So I should point out, obviously, this is not investment advice. This is just what I called intellectual curiosity. I was just interested. This was a very small amount of kind of fiat value, and as we can see, it's not really gone up very much. I mean, 21%, I suppose, over 2 years isn't terrible, but compared to the stock market or something like that. Investing in blockchain game tokens has not proved to be very lucrative, but I didn't care. It's not about doing it for the money. So this is, as we can see here, we can just it's very simple. We can flick between a day and all time. So obviously, as this is over a long period of time, the volatility of one day doesn't really affect the volatility, the price of all time. We can see here, some obviously not actual values involved. Say very small amounts of money, really, a couple of $100. And we can see, how the price has gone up and down as the price of Bitcoin has gone up and down, really. But what's interesting is if we can see here, there's a few projects. So we can see here, and this is kind of, I guess, what I would have expected, really, that you were kind of putting together some sort of portfolio, and with all portfolios, you're trying to kind of spread risk. Because what's happening here is some of these projects are going to zero, and some of them are kind of growing fairly substantially. I don't think we've seen as much extremism as I would have thought. I would have thought more of these would have gone to be more like Referium. So Referium's a project basically now on life support. They're kind of redesigning it at the moment, but it's not very clear whether it's ever going to come back again or not. So no surprise that is. I mean, I'm surprised that's not gone down further really. But so yeah, down 90%. Similar thing with BitGuild. BitGuild, these two were kind of roughly around the same time in early, kind of October. Excuse me, in early 2018. Both of these pulled off kind of ICOs, and then never really got kind of a lot of traction. I mean, Bitcoin actually changed from an ERC20 token running on Ethereum. Now it's running on Tron. Obviously, Tron is a very different project, and BitGuild is kind of shifted. It actually runs an exchange now. Doesn't seem to be doing games really at all. So no surprise that these have gone down. Reality Clash, a mobile-based game. Still trying to kind of get scale. It's still live. You can still kind of trade the guns and that sort of thing. But I think we can say it's not really got scale. Loom Network, what was going to be a layer 2 solution for games, still going, but there's kind of seems to be lots of issues internally in the company. The CEO left and they're not doing games anymore. So all the games companies that were using it have all basically pulled Loom. They're saying they're going to look at being going for enterprise, but it's not really clear what they're doing. They've basically lost most of their validators. So I'm surprised this isn't down further, really. Loom did get onto Binance, so I guess there's kind of volume in people trading Loom tokens on Binance, because just on Binance people trade anything that's there. So and then Wax. Wax is actually, it's interesting that it's down 40%. I mean, it's still an ongoing project. It launched as an ERC20 token. Now it's the mainnet is live using the EOSIO technology. So it's a live blockchain with live projects on it. Kind of doing fairly well. I mean, still not massive amounts of daily active unique wallets. Not a lot of DApps on it. I think there's a lot of hype around Wax, so the price was obviously at that point, a year and a half ago was over speculated. So it's still down on what it would have been, despite that being a live project. And I think this kind of goes to show that there's so much speculation still around blockchain tokens, any tokens, not just game tokens, that it's very hard to unpick speculation, which can drive stuff up very high. And even when stuff does go live and actually has, I mean, there's some sort of cash flows around Wax. There are developers operating on the Wax blockchain, so you can say there's some sort of success there, that it's actually launched with things live on it. That doesn't boost it up enough, because the speculation just drives everything. Okay, let's look more positively. What have we got? So of these 9 tokens, some have gone up. So First Blood still pretty kind of quiet. It's doing its own blockchain kind of esports kind of focused project. So I mean, up 43%. Theta token, actually one of the best performing. They've been kind of pretty flawless actually. They've launched their own mainnet. They're doing video delivery network really, but kind of really working with streamers and game streaming. And they seem to be pretty operationally pretty strong. So I think they always look like a good team. They raise money from VCs and private sales rather than doing just kind of token sales. So they're a good project. Decentraland, I mean, this is has actually launched yet. I don't think it's got any users or many users. Still a bit of a darling of that space. There's still quite a lot of land sales going on around there. So I guess no surprise it was up, and its token was never speculated upon at quite the same level as some of the other ones. And then good old Engine Coin, actually the best performer, up almost 200%. And we can see here this is at one point, this isn't live on my portfolio anymore, but 1.36%. So in that sense, kind of my choices were quite good. So the two I had the biggest value of at one point were the ones that have done the best, and the two that were the worst I had very small bet. I think I had like $10-$20 of these. Obviously should have bought some more Theta, but in terms of decision making, actually, I mean, whether 21% over 2 years is good or not, that's for other people to judge. But I think as an experiment, an intellectual experiment in kind of forcing you to think about these things, that probably has worked out quite well. I should say actually now, I don't have any Engine Coin, don't have any Decentraland, have a bit of Wax, but don't really own any of these tokens. So that was an even better kind of use of the experiment, I suppose. Let's also have a quick look. I've also got another portfolio, so kind of we can see how that kind of a portfolio of general blockchain tokens as opposed to game tokens, how that kind of worked out over 2 years as well. Okay, so a similar procedure. This is not a portfolio I have. Again, it's a very small amount of tokens in value. I've not updated this for a year, and was just kind of messing around really. As a comparison, so down 3% today, but over time, so actually about the same. So games were up slightly more, but I guess what's interesting here is we see a bit more of the it either goes very high or the token price goes very very well, or it goes to zero. So we can see here there's a lot more tokens in here, and some of the same ones are in here. So I mean, statistically, I don't know, you can draw a lot from it, but so you have Referum down the bottom here, and actually obviously set up these portfolios at different times. So this is actually down 97% in this one. Platt down the bottom as well, so you can see they're really bad performers. Mainframe, Golem, Counterparty, that's an old Bitcoin sort of thing. Nexium, I'm surprised that's not down more. Probably for some of these tokens now, you can't even get prices on them. But interesting here. So Ethereum, over the period of time I had this, only up 10%. Obviously, we're not seeing the fat protocol thesis playing out, that Ethereum's now much more busy than it was a year and a half ago. But the price of Ethereum's not done anything. Maker up a bit. I have no idea what's going on with this First Blood. I don't know where the pricing's gone. That's not right. Some of the other interesting ones here. So 0x, a DeFi protocol, has actually gone down. Cosmos, I guess a lot of hype around these things. Waves down. OMG Network, again another DeFi sidechain. Really now it's kind of changed. So Bitcoin actually was pretty good if you'd invested in Bitcoin. Back then, Bitcoin was kind of getting on for, it got as low as get as low as $3, $3,000 back in that era. So more than doubled. Got some more bit crystals. Cardano, again, we can see heavily over speculated on. Theta again, Loom Network again, we've seen those. So Tron, actually, everything about Tron up 70% over that period of time. Stellar up 19%. I mean, I kind of think with these blockchain things, what you're looking at really is the things that get people excited about this is not going up 19%. The amount of risk you're taking on for these sort of projects, 19% is not worth it. You're sticking money in stocks. And we can see here actually that so the best performing game coin was Engine. Token was Engine, but the by far away of the kind of tokens I had. And again, nice to see at the top, my biggest 21% of my portfolio was Tezos, which is up 600%. Yeah, I'm not quite kind of sure what we can draw from that. I guess in retrospect, think a bit more seriously about if you are going to, or don't invest in this sort of stuff. But as an intellectual experiment, it's always good to buy very small amounts, although gas fees are expensive at the moment, but buy small amounts and look at the performance. And then as they perform well, kind of buy more, which is not any different. I don't think from that point of view, crypto is any different to stocks, really. Obviously, a lot more volatility and kind of easy to get in and out of these things. But I think that should force you to make better decisions, because otherwise the market kind of makes decisions for you. I think that's pretty dangerous. Anyway, as I always say, not for investment advice, just for interest and to kind of get an idea about kind of what people. I mean, I think token price does reflect some amount of speculation, and speculation reflects what people think is going to do well. So it's interesting from that point of view. No EOS there, down 34%. So anyway, thanks for watching this video. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to be doing any more game token stuff, really. But if something kind of interesting comes up, then maybe I will. But anyway, thanks for watching this one, and hope to see you again soon.